Welcome, everyone, to the DUB Success Series, where we cultivate your belief system for success. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, and I want to know, do you believe? Do you?
Do you believe? I want to know. Do you believe? 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 I want to know. Do ya?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Do You Believe Success Series, where we cultivate your mindset and your belief system for success. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner, also known as Hydrate the Motivator, Mr. Do You Believe himself, yes, in the flesh. And I thank you so very much for your time to tuning in, listening to another episode, and I hope that we are adding value to those of you who are consistently listening to our podcast episodes, and hopefully there's something that you take away every single time that you tune in. That is our intention. As you know, I am staying faithful and staying true to the 100-day podcast challenge, where I will be uploading a new episode every single day for 100 days in a row. That is my goal, and thus far, I think we may be on episode 16 or 17. I lost track right now, but I know it's at least 15, 16, 17, somewhere in that range. So we're going to stay true with going for 100 days. And truthfully, my goal is just to continue to upload a new episode every single day until I die, whenever that may be, hundreds of years from now. But that's my goal, is I wanted to upload a new episode every day in hopes that it will inspire you to take on something that you want to do every single day. I was inspired to take on this challenge by Dr. Eric Thomas and his team, who will be doing their own version of the 100-day challenge by committing to something that they wanted to do for 100 days. And the 100th day will actually be on Christmas Day. And on Christmas Day, the hope is that you will have gifted yourself with commitment and something that will manifest and return dividends in ways that money and finances actually cannot. So that is our hope. All right, so now, for those of you who have been listening over the last couple weeks or so, you know that I have been indulging in the intimacy challenge, where we will be reestablishing the intimacy between my wife and I, and using the 40-day love dare as a guide for that. Today is day 14 of the love dare. I skipped a couple days because I was out of town in LA for a conference, but now we're back on track. And yesterday was Love Fights Fair, where we reestablished the rules of engagement within any disagreement that you may have with your spouse, because we know that a house divided would not be able to stand. So we want to make sure that we have fair rules of engagement when it comes to any conflict that we may face with our spouse or loved one, or whoever you are committed to. And also, day 14, we're going to be focusing on love takes delight. So you have to purposely neglect an activity that you would normally do so you can spend quality time with your spouse. Do something that he or she would love you to do, whether that be a project or something that you can work on together. So you have to purposely neglect something that you would normally do and change that time out with something that you could do with your spouse. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do today, but I'm going to think of something creative. And when my wife comes home today, I will be focusing on putting aside something that I would normally do for myself, so that way I can focus on something that we can do together. All right, so that is the love dare within itself. Now, I also am using the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. As I looked around at some of the worldwide leaders that I saw, and some of the people who were representing me and this world and the country, and I looked at the leadership, and there were some examples of leadership that I would not want to pattern myself after, and I would not want my children to follow, nor any of my family or my legacy to be impacted by some of the leadership that I've seen on a worldwide scale. So opposed to complaining about it, name calling, pointing fingers, and being disappointed about it, I decided to focus on what I could do as a leader to enhance my leadership abilities, my leadership skills, and also in hopes that this will influence other people to do the exact same thing, to step up your leadership skills. And I want to be clear about something, that when I talk about leadership, I'm not talking about from a positional standpoint. I'm not talking about being a leader in terms of your job, a manager, or any of those type of roles. I'm talking about being a leader within your community, within your household, within yourself, because all leadership starts with being a good self-leader. And if you can't appropriately lead yourself, then it's going to be quite difficult for you to be able to lead someone else. So I want to make sure that we are focusing on what we can do to be great leaders. All right, right now we're on law number 6, which is the law of solid ground. And this is coming from John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Law number 6 is the law of solid ground. Yesterday we talked about the law of addition, where if you lead people, then you add value to them by serving them. That's how you add to the value of others, is by serving them. And today is the law of solid ground, where it says trust is the foundation of leadership. Without trust, leadership will crumble. And you have to understand that leaders have to exhibit and maintain good character. Ethics, you have to be ethical in everything that you do, because it takes so long to establish trust. It takes so long to build up that rapport, to cultivate those loving relationships. But truthfully, it only takes a second to destroy it. And people want to follow leaders who they can trust. You know, it's good to have charisma. It's good to have authority and to look good and to dress good and to smell good. But those things don't necessarily reflect in trust. So it's all about understanding that if you are a leader, you have to cultivate those relationships and build that trust and maintain that trust, because it's important. Because I've known some marriages that have been destroyed because of infidelity. And these have been marriages that have existed for decades, that have existed literally for years. These relationships have been cultivated. And then what happens? One night stand or something happens, and the next thing you know, that trust crumbles. This works the exact same way when it comes to a leader. That's why we have to consistently focus on establishing the law of solid ground, because trust is truly the foundation of leadership. I know for me personally, I would not want to follow a leader that I cannot trust, because I don't know where they will be leading me to. So you have to understand that if you want to cultivate yourself as a leader, then you have to be trustworthy. You have to focus on being trustworthy. You have to focus on trusting others, as well as allowing yourself to be vulnerable and allowing people to be able to feel as if they can trust you. Because to be honest, if I can't trust you, it's going to be quite difficult for me to want to follow you in anywhere that you take me. So let's focus on that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask you this question. This is the question that I'm throwing out there. What can you do to further establish your foundation as a leader? Because without trust, leadership and leaders will crumble. So what can you do to build a strong, solid, concrete foundation to establish that rapport, that trust? Because we know that just like in business, people do business with people they know, people they like, and people they trust. Leadership is the same way. People will follow leaders they know, leaders they like, and leaders that they trust. So what can you do as a leader? And this is not just on your job, but this also may be within your friend relationships. It may be within your marriage. It may be within your social circle. But what can you do as a leader to ensure that you are building a strong foundation of trust to be able to establish the law of solid ground that will take you and your leadership ability and your leadership skills to the next level? What is it that you can do? And I want to hear back from someone who is actually focusing on doing what they can to establish more trust. And contact me, either leave a comment below, or you can email me at motivation101@gmail.com and send me over any questions or any additional feedback that you may have. That is motivation101@gmail.com. Send that over. Let me know what it is that you have established, questions or anything that you may have that you feel that could add to the discussion of cultivating leaders, because that's what we want to do. Is we want to step our game up as leaders, so that way we can better serve those people that we are called to serve. Yes, Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to the Do You Believe Success series, where we are here to cultivate your mindset and your belief system for success. I'm looking forward to seeing the impact that these podcasts have on those who choose to listen and implement some of the things that we discussed. And before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back here in less than 24 hours with another episode of the Do You Believe Success series. And until then, you be blessed, and we will be hearing from you, or you will be hearing from us shortly. Hey guys, be blessed. Talk to you soon.
Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe? I wanna